Good morning, students. I hope you all are very well. So, today let's start with history chapter number 6. And the name of this chapter is Kingdom, Kings, and Early Republic. Very simple, very easy to chapter. Listen to this video very carefully so that you will understand without any confusion. Let's start with this introduction. What this chapter is all about. Let's get back in past. In 6th century BC, it was regarded as, or that period of 6th century BC is regarded as the milestone or very important time in Indian history. It makes the beginning, or there was a starting of new world religion and of important development. Means there was many new religions started and there was very important development in terms of political and social economic fields. Means this period of 6th century BC was very important in terms of three parts: religion, political and socio-economic field. The Aryans had spread over whole of the North India and small territorial kingdoms had replaced their tribal. Means the Aryans, they had spread over whole of the North India, or the Aryans have covered whole part of the North India, and the small territorial kingdom had replaced their tribal chieftainities. Means and small kingdoms were also started. Some of the political units developed into the large kingdoms and republics were known as Mahajanpadas and extending from Kabul Valley to the banks of river Godavari. There were also political units, means political units which develop, means small political units that develop into a large kingdom, okay, and republic. Means there were a small kingdom, oh sorry, there were small political units which develop into a very big large kingdom, and they were known as Mahajanpadas, and their kingdom extended from Kabul, Afghanistan, to the banks of river Godavari. The Magad, which comprised of district of Patliputra or New Patna and Gaya in Bihar. They rose to power, or they came into power under Sinsunga dynasty. There was a dynasty known as Sinsunga in which Magad, including the Patliputra and Gaya of in Bihar, they rose to power. The most dynamic rulers of this dynasty were Bimbasara and Ajata Satru. And from Sinsunga dynasty, there were two great powerful rulers, or most dynamic ruler of this dynasty was first was Bimsara from 547 BC and the Ajazatru from 495 to 462 BC. Okay, let's move forward. What was the changes in society? There was a complex caste system, or there was a caste system which was developed or which came into existence, and they have many varnas which become hereditary from one person to another person in the family, which leads to the, which means that, or which says that the son of king will be king only, or a son of trader will be a trader only, like that. This practice of creating difference among the people and importance attached to birth was not liked by all. Means this practice, the practice which says that the son of king will be king, okay, this was creating a difference. So it was not liked by all persons. Hence, time to time, people revolted or people stood against such kind of rigidity or such kind of system in the society. And there was new religion which have taken birth, and they were Buddhism and Jainism because of this rigidity in the society. Next, state formation, Janpadas. Till the end of Vedic period, or when the Vedic period was ending, the community or the group of person or the Jana, they used to select a king from themselves so that the king will protect the other persons of the group. The post of the king was not hereditary. Means in this, the post of king was not hereditary. It's not like that. If the king is there and there is his son, so his son will not become the king until and unless he have the capability of doing the work. Around 600 BC, the position of king started becoming more important. Means during 600 BC time period, the position of the king, it was becoming more important because it was a place of responsibility. Small kingdoms came to be formed with by the various tribes and their rulers. There were many small kingdoms or many little kingdoms which were formed by their rulers. Conquest and expansion of the territories under these rulers continued. Means to conquest or to win over other and to expand their own self rule or the expansion of their area. It was continuing in that time period. Janpadas went to become Mahajanpadas. Hence the king gained importance and their posts become hereditary. As the as the time passes on, or as the time moves on, the Janpadas became Mahajanpadas, means more bigger. So the king gained importance and the post of the king started to become hereditary. Okay, here is the diagram of Mahajanpadas during 600 BC to 300 BC, where were they were all located. There were many places in India, some places in Pakistan also. As you can see, that many of the places were near to some of the other river because of availability of water and fertility of the soil. Okay, let's move forward. Let's talk about Mahajanpadas. The arrival of iron technology or the Iron Age and the emphasis on Varna system or giving importance to Varna system. It increases the sacrificial and prestige of kings laid down foundation of Mahajanpadas. Means these all systems laid down the foundation of Mahajanpadas. Excavation of places like means excavation or archaeological at places like Kashi and Patliputra and information from Buddhist and Jain literature. It says that means these all things says that there were 16 Mahajanpadas that were between 600 BC to 400 BC. Okay, let's move forward. And what was the administration in Mahajanpadas? Mahajanpadas means large or big territories, and to protect, there was a big standing army was used to be maintained by the kings because the territories was large, so army was needed to maintain to protection. Soldiers were given regular salary in forms of coins. Means there were coins which were given to soldiers in form of their salaries because they used to guard and protect the territory. So salaries were given. There was also settled life and stable agriculture, and due to which there was surplus production in agriculture, which the king used to collect as tax. Means some part of the agriculture production was being given to king as tax. The king acquired the right to collect tax in order to maintain army. Why the king collect tax? So that it would maintain army, to carry on with the various administration work, to build various forts, and to create public welfare utilities like road, wells, canals, rest houses, etc. Means from the tax, many things was created for public welfare also. Taxes was collected in two forms, either in cash or either in kind. From farmers, if the tax percentage used to be the 1/6 of their total production. So farmer used to give 1/6 of their production to king as tax. There were Mahajanpadas or big cities or large territories found in Magad in South Bihar, Malla in Gorakhpur, Cheddi in Yamuna and Narmada belt, Vasta in Allahabad or now known as Prayagraj, Kashi in Benares, etc. What were the types of government in that? The Mahajanpadas were either republic called Gana or Sangh or monarchy, meaning hereditary rule of king. So the type of government in Mahajanpadas were like Gan, Sangh or monarchy, which means the hereditary rule of king. Like if there king, then there is son. He used to be the prince, and after the king's death or when king used to announce, his son would be the king. Okay. The republic consists of either a single tribe such as Shakyas, Kolyas, and Mallas, or confederate tribes such as Vajjas and Yadavas. So there were either the single tribes or there were a mix of tribes, many types tribes. the republic had retained much more tribal tradition than the monarchies. So the republic was able to maintain their tribal conditions or tribal tradition, because only one in republic only one kind of single tribe was there, so they were able to retain their tribal or traditional system more than the monarchies. Okay, let's move forward. Agriculture proposed in most of the Mahajanpadas as they located in fertile areas. The republic were mostly in less fertile or hilly areas. If we talk about the agriculture in Mahajanpadas, they were located in very fertile land where means agriculture was easy. And if we talk about the republic group, then they were located in hilly area or less fertile area. Iron came to be used widely in making of plowshares, hooge, or various other farming tools. Means with the use of iron, the this was used widely, or it was used by many persons for agriculture purpose, for making plowshares, hooves, and other tools which were used in farming. There were many canals and wells was also dug so that irrigation could improve. Water could reach more easily. The farmers learned to use manure, means using of manure was also done during this time. As to grow more rice, they replaced the earlier method of scattering seed with transplantation, that is the orderly sampling of food. Means they want more rice production. So how would they do? They replace scattering seed, means to throw seeds on the field, with the transplantation, means when the old plant takes out, they from that one of the plant to be sent in the, then one of the plant again agriculture, means out of 10 one plant was kept again to go inside that agriculture area. So here are the image of farming activity during that period: winnowing, threshing floor, harvesting. Many examples are given. The farm located near to the river, many birds, animals grazing on the field. There were boats also on the river, many people working on the field, helping each other, so that work done very smoothly and fastly. Okay, now let's talk about the rise of the cities. The production of surplus crops allowed some people to specialize in crafts such as metalworking, carpenting, and pottery. As we all know that when agriculture started and when men learned to the agriculture work, so with the time, when the time passes, so the production of the crops, it was surplus, or there was more supply than the demand, means there was more agriculture crops being cultivated, more and more production was there. So it allowed, or due to this, many person they started to get specialized in other works like metalworking, carpenting, and pot making. These were also other works which were started during this time. The exchange of surplus crops and goods manufactured by the craftsmen led to trade. City grew around the center of craft, trade, and administration. Means, so if there is a surplus, then it was to be exchanged with some or other commodity, or the goods were exchanged with other goods which were being manufactured or made by the craftsmen, which and due to this, trade and city started to grow. Okay, let's move forward. So here is the diagram of many cities, old cities during that Mahajanpadas period. As you can see, from North India to the central of India, also some cities in Pakistan also. Okay, let's move forward. What were the revenue, tax, and trade? The tax collectors, there was a special person known as tax collector. They were appointed so that they could collect tax from people. Tax could be paid in two parts or two process, either in cash or either in kind. There, if we talk about the land tax, then it was taken so that there was maximum revenue or maximum earnings or maximum income. A share of 1/6 of the agriculture production has to be given as tax. Craftsmen and merchants also pay regular tax, either in cash or either in kind. Cash means to give money, kind means to give goods from their side. The revenue collected was spent on paying salaries of the people, and okay, now revenue is collected. Now where it is to be spent? It the revenue which was collected, it was spent to the people who work in king's administration and various public facilities like construction and construction of various roads, canals, etc., and maintaining the army. Trade. What was trade? Goods road encourage, oh sorry, good road. If the road is good, then it will increase the trade or encourage the trade for long distance. Overseas trade means from one country to another country. This kind of trade also gained importance. Bigu Bhigu Kacha. It became important trading port. Okay, let's move forward. Social organization. Caste rigidity increase means if a person belongs to a particular caste, then he have to do work of that caste only. Strict rules. There were strict rules to govern caste system. Intermarriages and interdining between caste was not allowed. Means marrying inside the caste and dining or eating food together. It was not allowed. The trades and crafts of the shrenis means the trading and craft person. If person doing craft, then his family has to do that work only. They cannot do another work. Okay. Here is the diagram of the caste. So on the top there were Brahmins who were the teachers or who were considered next to God. Then come the Kshatriyas who were the warriors serving in the army. Then come the Vaishyas who were the traders, the merchant or having any land with them. And then up fourth in the blue, there were Shudras, means they were the servant, subordinate to Vaishyas or the junior to Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, and okay, untouchables. Uh, they were doing manual street sweeping works. Okay, let's move forward. Monarchy, Magadha. Let's talk about the Magad. Strategic location means where Magad is located. The capital of Magad, which was known as Rajgiraha, it was surrounded by five hills. Means Rajgiraha, which was the capital of Magad, it was surrounded by five hills, and due to this location, it was difficult to win over Rajgriha, or it was difficult to conquer the Rajgriha. Patliputra, which was its capital, afterwards it was situated on the near to river Ganga, the Gandak and the Sun. Therefore, because there was three rivers surrounding, so it was also the water fort. The thick forest beyond the Gaya in Bihar, there was a thick or deep forest beyond the Gaya in Bihar, which supplies or which gives timber for building and elephants to serve in army. There was fertile land because there was many rivers draining in that area. It so the river land was not only fertile but also it was fit for doing the agriculture work. But it also provides, and besides agriculture, it also provides good water transportation and continuous water supply. There were many mineral deposits. The control over rich deposit of copper and iron ore on Chota Nagpur, it helps to make better weapons. Means copper and iron was used to make better weapons and various other instruments. Iron was considered so important, or it played an important role during this period, so as to make many kind of weapons. Okay, military. If we let's talk about a military, Magad had a large standing army, or it has a big army with it. It was Magad which was used to elephant on large scale in war. Means the Magad army started to use the elephants in wars. They were the first. So here is the diagram of 16 Mahajanpadas in India 600 BC. Many cities, river, also modern boundaries. Okay, and some cities in India also, some cities in Pakistan also. Okay, like Matsya, Panchala, Kosala, Malla, Kashi, Magad, Vrijji, Chetia, Asaka, Avanti. Okay, many cities. Important rulers of Magad. Okay, now let's talk about the important rulers of Magad. Shingshunga dynasty from 542 to 495 BC, almost around 45 to 47 years. Bimbisara and Ajatasattu. We have read these names in the starting of this chapter. Now let's get in the details. Bimbisara. He was the first important ruler of Magad. Okay. He was the contemporary of Gautam Buddha. By a series of marriage alliance with the neighboring kingdom, Bimbisara increased his power and influence. Means to increase and to win the territory or to increase his power, he entered into a marriage alliance with his neighboring kingdom so that he could increase his power and influence. Also, he can increase his kingdom area. Next comes the Ajatasattu. He succeeded his father Bimbisara, means he was the son of Bimbisara king in 492 BC. He adopted the policy of expansion. He means like his father, he also adopted or taken the policy of expansion of kingdom. He defeated kings of Kosala and attacked Vaishali, which is situated in north of Bihar. He was succeeded by his son Udyan, and after Ajatasattu, his son was the king named as Udyan. The Singsunga dynasty was overthrown by the Nadas. Means the Singsunga dynasty came to end when the Nadas defeated them. Okay, let's move forward. The Nanda dynasty, Maha Padmananda. He was the first and the most powerful ruler of the Nanda dynasty. He was succeeded by his eight sons. Means after Padmananda, there was his eight sons who succeeded him. Dhanananda, the last ruler of the Nanda dynasty, was Dhanananda. Means the first ruler was Mahapadmananda and the last ruler was Dhanananda. He was a contemporary of Alexander. Dhanananda was very unpopular with his subjects. Means he was not so popular as the other kings of Nanda dynasty was popular. Let's talk about the Mauryan dynasty, the Chandragupta Maurya. In 323 BC, there was King Chandragupta Maurya. With the assistance of or with the help of Chanakya, his teacher, he threw Dhanananda or he or he defeated Dhanananda, and he laid the foundation of Mauryan dynasty in India or Mauryan Empire in India. Chandragupta Maurya started the Mauryan age from 320 to 185 BC. It was a very glorious or very important or very popular one. Chandragupta belonged to the Shakyas, means Chandragupta Maurya, who was the founder of Mauryan dynasty, belonged to Shakyas, a clan or in from which Gautam Buddha or Lord Buddha belonged. Jain tradition regards Chandragupta to have been in the family of peacock breeders. Means Jain tradition give respect to Chandragupta, so as he was from the family of peacock breeders. Okay, many coins was issued by him. Means there was currency which was issued by Chandragupta Maurya, which which had the image or which had the figure of peacock engraved on them on that coins. And after the continuous rule of 25 years, the Chandragupta gave his throne, or he left his throne or kingdom, and he became a Jain saint. Bindusara from 300 to 273 BC. He was the son of Chandragupta Maurya. Bindusara was he was also very good and great warrior, and was a capable administrator and ruler. And he expanded his Mauryan empire or Mauryan kingdom up to Mysore. He ruled for around 25 years like his father, and he died in 273 BC. And he was succeeded by his son, the great Ashoka. Now here comes the effect of Alexander invasion. Alexander invaded India. So let's read the effect of the Alexander invasion. Alexander invaded in 326 BC in India, but after his invention, there was not any permanent result of Alexander's invention, but his invention influenced the history of India. Means there was a change in the history of India due to Alexander's invention up to a particular part. It exposed India to the west by opening four distinct lines of communication: three by land, one by sea. Means with the expansion of Alexander, the way to enter India from west was exposed or was opened. Three from land, means three. There was three ways to enter India from land, and one way to enter from sea. His invention weakened all the small states in north. Means there were many small states prevailing or existing in north. Due to his invention, they all got weakened or they are defeated, and due to this, it was easier for Chandragupta Maurya to bring everything under his control. His invention also proved to be helpful in the reconstruction of history, as Alexander historians have left dated records of his campaign. And the invention of Alexander was very helpful to reconstruct or to remake the history, because Alexander historians or historians from Alexander period, they have left the dated record of that time. Means on this day what thing happened on, or what thing happened on that particular day, etc. Okay, so here is the image of Alexander invention in India. How was the army fighting? The basically scene of war, and in the bottom right corner you can see image of Alexander. Okay, let's move forward. Megathesis account of India. He was a Greek ambassador or the visitor from Greek, and he stayed in India for 5 years, and he had written in many fields like social, political, and economic life. Means how was the economic life, social life, political life of India was there. Chandragupta maintained a huge army to protect his vast empire. As the Mauryan empire was big, so Chandragupta Maurya has to maintain a big and large army so that it could protect its vast empire. He also maintained an elaborate spy system. Means he was also maintaining a spy system which is helpful for the king to always get informed about various activities. There was land revenue, which was the chief source of income for the king, and the tax or the amount which was being collected, it was used to pay professional as the salary, to maintain big army, and to build road and hospital and other public utilities. The king was assisted by the council of ministers called Mantri Parishad. There were a group of minister or the council of minister which assisted and helped the king for the administration purpose, which were also known as the Mantri Parishad. He described the Patliputra, the Megasthenes. He described Patliputra. He told about Patliputra, which was a beautiful city or the beautiful capital city which was situated on the banks of river Ganga and Sun river. It was fortified by a strong wall with a deep moat. So that Patliputra was fortified or built or have the strong wall all around it, so that it could protect, the strong wall could protect it against the sudden attacks from the various other invaders and enemies. Okay, so here comes the end of this chapter. I hope you have understood this chapter. Read the chapter carefully and listen to this video very carefully so that you will understand this chapter without any confusion. Okay, till then, take care. Bye bye.